The Arcana is the means by which all is revealed. There is both joy and wonder in coming to understand another. In today's Arcana, which is revealed, is the Lover's Arcana. Not just any Lover's Arcana, Persona 3's Lover's Arcana, yours truly, Yukari Takeba. We all know Yukari by now. If you're a Persona fan, which I assume that you are since you are on this channel watching this video, Yukari Takeba is one of the main characters in Persona 3. With all of Persona's existence, she's a female character, therefore she's romanceable. And dare I say, is probably the true romance option for our boy, Makoto Yuki. It's either her or Aigis, but it's quite close. Yukari has been through the trenches with her reputation back then due to Persona 3's expansion, The Answer. In this video, I will be explaining Yukari's controversial reputation and how her reputation took weird turns. Now, we are getting into spoiler territory here, so if you haven't played Persona 3, please do, or you can just skip into this timestamp in the video to skip the spoilers. But if you don't care too much about spoilers or have already played the game, then we'll proceed on. Yukari Takeba for me personally is a great character. She's a fantastic healer support character for fighting shadows in Tartarus. She's not the most OP Persona character, obviously, that would probably go to Yuru Narukami or Joker, but I usually have her in my team whenever we do missions and grinding. Let's just look over her design. Yukari is always rocking that bright pink cardigan, a black miniskirt, about neck-length brown hair, black knee-high stockings, pearly white earrings, and a heart-shaped choker. From the original Persona 3 to Persona 3 Reload, nothing about her really changed much, she just looked more high definition. But with her style and design, I think we can safely say that she's somewhat of a Gyaru, in a style sense. Isn't she literally Momo from Dandadan? Close enough, welcome back Ayase Momo from Dandadan. We can compare her style to a lot of other Persona characters. I think for me, she screams the most Gyaru and teenage girl out of all of them. We can argue that both of the Lover's Arcana from Persona 4 and 5, Rise Kujikawa and Anne Takamaki, look like Gyarus and teenage girls too. But with Anne and Rise, they are both models, so their fashion sense and style is definitely more eccentric than others. Yukari though, her interactions with people and just how she's perceived at school, she seems like a popular Gyaru teenage girl. I think that we can safely say that from what we know that she has lots of friends at the school, right? I know that it always seemed like Yukari's friends are only the cis people, but we can deduce that from her archery club and how popular she is, she has lots of friends. Well, from my observation, everyone knows that she's pretty and popular in Gekkokan High School, so it led me to believe through my observation that she is a Gyaru teenage girl. The thing is with Gyarus in anime, they are always these very open-minded characters, they're always boasting, very outgoing, and the total opposite of the usual quiet and reserved characters. Gyarus in anime are always somewhat easy to spot and notice, they usually have bright colors on them and they tend to have bright personalities as well. Not all of them have bright personalities, some of them could be the worst type of people that you can think of, but they're very attention-centric. They like to get their opinions out there and things like that. So if a Gyaru hates something or hates someone, they can make that very apparent. Like, they do not hold back, and they hate that person or that thing with every fiber of their body. Yukari's personality is one that is outgoing and kind of cheery. I think like the other Lover's Arcana, they're always the same personality archetype, and their problems are always related to their relationships and the people they are involved with. But like any other young teenage girl, Yukari is prone to mood swings and other girl type things that I do not know about because I'm a guy. Yukari also has her share of traumatic pasts and her development in the story, which influences a lot of her actions in the game and just how she is as a person, which is a good indication of a good written character. As for her archery skills, I mean, in Persona 3 Reload she was perfectly fine, but in Persona 3 she seemed to miss a lot of her shots. That's what a lot of people were saying back then, I think, because there was a trailer which showed Yukari's 3G. Now people were joking about it, how this isn't the real Yukari because she's hitting all of her shots. Well, I don't really know much since I played Persona 3 Reload and she hit her shots just fine. In that case, Yukari Takeba definitely fits the Gyaru description. We all know this by now. Bro is a massive Junpei hater, and she's not one of those silently hating on someone or making passive aggressive comments towards the person to show that she doesn't like someone. She full on hates Junpei. I think one of the reasons why Yukari exists in Persona 3 is to solely hate on Junpei. She's a seasonal hater and she decides her next target is Junpei.
Morning.
Yo, Yuka-tan. Man, this is a tough case. Even for Junpei Iori, ace detective.
Ace detective? You're so dumb. More like Stupe, ace defective.
Where'd that come from?
How does one even come up with that kind of retort? Like, why and how, Yukari? Why did these words come out of your mouth? Yukari doesn't just dislike Junpei, she has this massive energy for it. Like, she wakes up and suddenly chooses violence and directs it at Junpei. It's not even a subtle rivalry, it's just a full-on roast session every time they're on the screen. But let's unpack this for a moment. Yukari's constant verbal sparring with Junpei is a part of her gyaru and teenage girl personality. Despite the fact that she had problems getting her opinion and thoughts out about Mitsuru and the whole Cease operations at that one time, hating on Junpei isn't one of them. Stupe is defective. Pure poetry in motion. You have to wonder if she's been practicing these lines in her bedroom, because who just casually drops that? What's funny is that despite all this, Junpei never really holds a grudge. If anything, he just shrugs it off or he just accepts it, which only seems to fuel Yukari's inner hater. He tries to be the team's comic relief, but Yukari is not having any of it. To her, every punchline is just another opportunity to shut him down with maximum efficiency. And honestly, it's iconic. This kind of dynamic wouldn't work in a lot of games other than Persona, but in Persona 3, it fits perfectly. The Cease team is already dealing with existential crisis, shadows, and the looming threat of death. Yukari and Junpei's love-hate banter adds a layer of, relatable humor to the group, because who doesn't know two people like this in real life? Well, despite all of that hating on Junpei and Stupe, Ace Defective, we all know that Yukari deep down cares a lot for Junpei. I'm pretty sure all this hating on Junpei every time they have interactions with each other is just their friendly banter. She doesn't actually hate Junpei, it's just another way of showing her care for Junpei. It's like when you roast on your friends. It's not like you actually despise your friends, it's just good old banter. All this hating on Junpei though, all comes around to bite Yukari back. When Persona 3 Fest Edition came out, it came with the answer. The answer was a continuation of the main story of Persona 3, and it shows life after the main protagonist Makoto Yuki's passing. Obviously, after Makoto's death, the Cease team was definitely in low spirits and full-on depression mode. In this continuation of the story, you play as Aigis. Since the Persona 3 protagonist died, how else are you gonna play the continuation? When the Cease team thought the Dark Hour was over because Nyx was gone, or in this case sealed, when the time strikes 12 AM on the 31st of April, it was revealed that the Dark Hour wasn't gone yet. This time they were stuck in the abyss of time, they could not advance to the next day. They were stuck on the 31st of April until they solved whatever was going on. Everyone was at the Iwatorai dorm and they could not leave. So you play as Aigis and you go through this journey of accepting what happened, helping Aigis in finding the true meaning of life, and essentially finding out what happened after Makoto sacrificed himself to save the world from Nyx. In this journey, the characters go through many trials in development by going through their pasts. When they rewatch their pasts, it only shows them when they awaken their persona. The time when they awaken their persona, their lives have changed by a whole lot. With rewatching of past events that unfolds and reliving those old memories, it helped a lot of the members go through their time of grieving for Makoto and maybe help them come to a decision to move on and thinking that going back to try to save Makoto from his destined death was useless. But from all of this, why did a lot of people hate on Yukari in the answer? Why was her reputation tainted? Well, in the answer, during its biggest event of the story, the Cease team was shown a revelation. After rewatching those memories, each of the Cease team members was given a key to unlock the door of their dorm to finally be free from the abyss of time. Now, The catch is that all of the 9 C's members, this includes Metis too by the way, total Aegis Glazer, that they have to use the key on the dorm door. But there were 2 options. The dorm door, which allows the C's team to finally advance to the next day and be free from the abyss of time, or they can use it to unlock Makoto's old room in the dorm and return to the past. This was a huge dilemma among the C's team, which led them to argue and fight each other. And who was the provocator of all this fighting among the beloved C's team? It was Yukari. Yukari, throughout the answer, was obviously going through something internally. This was given in subtle hints on how Yukari just wanted this whole ordeal to be dealt with quickly and swiftly. Anytime there was any sentimental talk or just talking about memories, she usually tried to shrug it off. She suppressed all of those feelings of grief, regret, and sadness inside that little heart that she has, and eventually blew up in the most important part. I think when there was a decision to be made, future or the past, some of the C's members wanted to genuinely move on, but some of them were also reluctant to do it and want to go back to the past. Akihiko and Ken were the ones that really voiced their opinions, and the team was very close to agreeing with the decision to move forward. But Yukari went against that and voiced her opinion and her choice that she wanted to go back to the past, which resulted in the C's members fighting each other. This obviously started the hate for Yukari. A lot of people say that they hate Yukari because she was selfish and she was a bit annoying throughout the answer. To be honest, I get why a lot of people might not agree with Yukari on her decisions and actions, but I don't get the hate that she gets. If anything, it really shows how Yukari is an actual human being with emotions and feelings. She just lost her dearest friend, or possibly the love of her life. It makes sense on how she was acting and why she chose the decision to go back to the past. The answer really made me put myself in Yukari's shoes. If I lost someone near and dear to me, someone that I really love, and if I get any slight chance to be with them again, I would probably want to take that chance. It's not easy to go through a loss. It's not easy to grieve and move forward. It takes a lot of effort to move forward. I do think that people who hate on Yukari just don't really know what it feels like to lose someone that they really love and care about. Even something like a breakup, it's not easy to go through that. Feeling of loss is not really something to be underestimated about. After you finish battling the C's team members, we can see Yukari breaking down in tears and finally letting all of her suppressed emotions and feelings flow out too. She had a lot of internal battle. She knows that going back is probably not the best option, but she just lost someone who is dear to her and it puts her in a really tough spot. So that's why her reputation was sort of tainted after the answer. Yukari Takeba's reputation has been going around and around in weird places. I'm sure at one point that a lot of people think that Yukari is just a pretty, cute, Gyaru type girl in the Persona 3 roster, and just like a it girl energy type girl. She also garnered the reputation that she was basically a stormtrooper. She does not hit her arrows shots at all. Then, she was revered as the ultimate Junpei hater with
More like Stupe, ace defective.
Then she was also hated for the answer. And now, with the release of Persona 3 Reload, Persona 3 in modern times, Yukari's reputation is in a weird spot. Obviously, old fragments of her reputation from the past are still apparent today since Persona 3 Reload is just a remake of the Persona 3 that was released 18 years ago by the way, older than some of you, but to the new modern audience, with Gen Z included, her reputation is one that many can call weird. You see, in today's times, things like race, gender, sexuality plays a really big part in a lot of things. Many of the Persona characters, or just many fictional characters in general, are slowly but surely garnering reputation solely based on those things. We saw from time to time that many fans of some fandom make a big deal on Twitter because they're pushing their headcanons onto other people and forcing it on them. And when people don't accept their headcanons, they cause an outrage and start spewing some hateful stuff. Anyways, getting on a tangent there. Yukari's reputation in the modern times, we can describe it as goofy. Something silly. Nowadays, a lot of the character's reputation is really not related to anything serious. Probably because of how many stupid characters there are now, and weirdly enough, Yukari is a target of this weird phenomenon. There are so many tweets, comments on TikTok or Instagram that shows Yukari sort of being a racist? She's associated with the weirdest things, but it's pretty funny. I think her saying the ace defective thing was getting popular and she was obviously associated with that. And from that clip, it literally spiraled to her just being a hateful character overall. Hateful towards her race, any sexuality, and gender. It was like she was being revered as the modern Filthy Frank, equally hating on everybody. There was this video where this white girl was saying the N-word, and the first comment I saw was, "This is something that Yukari would say." And I was like, what does Yukari have to do with anything? Not only that, look at these examples.
So what's good, my nigga?
Even for Junpei Iori, ace detective.
Ace detective? You're so dumb. More like stupid faggot little cocksucker.
These examples show that Yukari is a racist, homophobe, and an angry old man? How can she hate on other races, sexualities, and genders if those ideas weren't even explored in Persona 3 or weren't floating around Yukari at all? All of the characters in Persona 3 were definitely dealing with something, but it was mostly personal struggles or dealing with the current situation that definitely was a big challenge for them. Maiko dealing with divorcing parents. Chihiro dealing with anxiety and speaking her mind in front of people. Fuka also with social anxiety and wishing for deeper connections. Yukari Takeba dealing with her late father and his connections to the Kirijo group, dealing with her mother who has made decisions that affected her deeply, and having to deal with opening up her insecurities and learning to trust others through Makoto Yuki. What the hell does that have anything to do with being racist? There were no other races in the game. They were all Japanese. There were no other races to be racist to begin with, and Yukari is certainly nowhere near racist. I truly do think that video of her saying the ace defective thing has done irreparable damages to her character and reputation. Whenever she makes a small, snide remark towards Junpei, it can be seen as something racist now instead of just funny banter. It's weird how someone like Yukari can be associated with this kind of thing, and to be honest, I find it kind of funny. Despite all this weird association with racism and those kinds of stuff, a lot of the times I do get influenced by this and also start thinking like, oh yeah, she definitely say that. It's weird. My first impressions with Yukari was just this outgoing, pretty gyaru teenage girl, and I was set on romancing her on the start of Persona 3 Reload. Then with the internet happening, I just started seeing her as ruthless and just the ultimate hater for everything. It's so dangerous how the internet can really influence your opinion and the way you think that easily. But I just find it funny that Yukari will say the N-word and have no remorse over it. It's like a meme that I look forward to every time by Yukari. I do really enjoy the internet and the current Persona community to make these kind of jokes with Yukari. It's just really funny. I know she hates on our boy Junpei every second. At times, he does deserve that kind of hate, but I never truly believe that Yukari genuinely hates Junpei. I think that's what the current state of the internet thinks as well towards Yukari, obviously. She's not actually a racist or a homophobe, she's just like Filthy Frank in a way. As in, like Joji himself. Will do make those kind of comments, but not an actual hateful, discriminatory, and horrible person. Yukari Takeba is definitely one of my favorite characters from Persona 3. From her design, story, social link, and her overall personality, which I think is probably one of the more realistic characters in Persona 3. Despite her struggles in The Answer, I still like her character and can both understand and relate to her a lot in that situation. Her reputation took some weird twists and turns, but all in all, she is still our beloved lover's Arcana. That is all. I'll see ya.